Hi, Hugo Reed. I am going to read for our nonfiction book this week a book called Amazing Animals, Geckos. And this is by Kate Riggs. I love the photographs. Isn't that crazy? All the detail on there. So good. Let's see what we can learn about geckos today. Get that so it's not getting glare for you. Lizards called geckos live in warm places around the world. They are found on all continents except Antarctica. Some lizards hiss, but geckos make sounds such as chirping or barking. It'd be fun to look that up on the internet and hear it. It says 8 kinds of geckos live on the islands of Hawaii. That's a pretty one, and that has lots of detail in that photo too. Very cool. Lots of colors in that. See the yellows and the blues and greens and kind of reds or rusts. Around his eyes are blue, and on the pads of his feet sort of look blue. Some geckos lick water from their eyes to get moisture, it says. Wow, aren't you glad you don't have to do that? Lick your eyes so you get moisture in your mouth? Only 18 kinds of geckos have eyelids. Other geckos have clear coverings over their eyes. They lick their eyes to keep them clean. A gecko has a tail that can break off from the body. Sometimes a gecko will break off its tail to get away from a predator. You know, a predator is an animal that would kill it, right? Something that would hunt for a gecko. Geckos can be as small as 1.6 centimeters or 0.6 inches. That's really tiny. Giant day geckos can be 10 inches long. The most colorful geckos are active in the daytime. Geckos have different markings on their skin, and they come in many colors. So 10 inches would be about from here to here. So that's big. That is a big gecko, but compared to some animals, that's not huge. I would be surprised if I saw a 10-inch gecko, though. That one is colored. That looks like the one on the last page, sort of, doesn't it? The feet look the same color, and the red and yellowish markings on the back look similar to me. Geckos have pads on the bottoms of their toes. The sticky pads help geckos climb. Geckos can live in dry lands, rainy forests, and on mountains. Some geckos blend in with sand, rocks, or trees around them. And this says mossy leaf-tailed geckos, like this one, hide in plain sight. Let me hold that a little better. Can you see that gecko? You can see his mouth. Then you can see his eyes, and it kind of helps you see the rest of his body. But when you first just look at that, it's hard to tell where he is because he's so camouflaged, isn't it? And look at this gecko. I wonder what he looks like on the top. That's the bottom of him. Geckos eat insects and other small creatures. Larger geckos can eat small birds and reptiles. Wow. So those ones that were like this long, probably. Geckos hunt for food in trees or on the ground. Some geckos eat fruit. This one says leopard geckos catch crickets and other insects. So that looks like that must be a leopard gecko. And you can see it's eating a cricket. Oh, there's a little note down here. Reptiles are animals that have scales and a body that is always as warm or cold as the air around it. So reptiles are cold-blooded, so just whatever the temperature around it, or if it was in a room or outside. If it was us, if we were a reptile, whatever the temperature in the room would be what our temperature is. But we make our own body heat. We're warm-blooded. They are not. A female gecko lays 1 or 2 eggs in leaves and bark. The hatchlings grow up on their own. Geckos live by themselves for about 6 to 10 years. Some kinds of geckos can live for 20 years in the wild. So it shows, that looks like a baby gecko by an egg, doesn't it? It says many geckos grow in their eggs for 6 to 12 weeks. So that's pretty cool. It would be fun to see them hatch, wouldn't it? Geckos shed their skin every 2 to 4 weeks. They hide from predators like snakes and birds. They scream or chirp at other geckos that get too close. Geckos spend a lot of time hunting for food. That shows you the picture. See how it's this reddish skin is the new skin, and the tannish skin is what's coming off and it's shedding. Down here it says reptiles like geckos grow larger by shedding their skin. Think if when you grew bigger you had to shed your skin. Our skin just grows with us. But if you're a lizard, that doesn't happen because their skin doesn't stretch like our skin does. It's just dry. So think if your skin had to come off every time that you were growing. So this is every 2 to 4 weeks. That's a lot. That means since we've been out of school, you would have shed your skin like more than 6 times. Most geckos look for food at night. These geckos rest during the day. Geckos warm their bodies in the sun. They move to the shade when they get too hot. That makes sense. And we were just reading about how they are whatever temperature is around them. So the way they would change their body temperature to make it warmer or cooler would be to move to the sun or to move to the shade, right? Many people keep geckos as pets. Leopard geckos are popular pets. People who live in the warmest parts of the world will see wild geckos. It can be fun to search for these noisy lizards. And then look at this picture. There's a little note down here that says, leaf-tailed geckos can spring from branch to branch, and that's what that one is doing. He's jumping or springing. Looks like he's flying, doesn't it? You can see the little pads on his feet, sort of. That would be fun to actually see one do that. And at the very end, it has a gecko story. Do you know that geckos bring good luck? People in Hawaii have believed this for a long time. They told a story about a gecko with a loud laugh that saved a king's daughter from danger. The king made the gecko guardian angel over all the Hawaiian islands. Hawaiians still welcome geckos into their homes for good luck. So when you live somewhere that geckos just live naturally, they would get into your house too, right? And they would be eating insects and things, which would seem like good luck to me because I don't like to have bugs in my house so much. And that is the end. And then it gives us a few websites here. If you want to screenshot those and look up some more information on geckos later, you could do that. So that is what we know about geckos. I will miss you this summer. Read some great nonfiction books. Tell me about them when I see you in August, okay? Bye-bye.